Welcome to another episode of Your Government is Openly Corrupt and Everyone's Just Cool with It. Today's democracy destroying news includes Trump's border czar getting caught on FBI tape taking 50 grand in a cava bag, 15 people dying in immigration detention while we rapidly expand the system, and Trump giving a rambling, incoherent, hateful speech in front of the UN yesterday. Also, Trump's administration is canceling America's hunger report right after cutting food stamps. But hey, at least we're not hiding the corruption anymore. We're just, doing it on camera and then shutting down the investigations. Very efficient. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button because we're tracking America's descent into obvious autocracy, kleptocracy in real time, and you're going to want daily updates on this shit show. So let's dive into today's Everything is Fine news cycle. So let's start out with the most embarrassing story possible. The President of the United States used his speech to world leaders to complain about not getting a construction contract 20 years ago. He was talking about the walls being plastic and he was going to put them in, make them marble. And it was only going to cost 500 million and he never finished the casinos he was working on. So I think the UN dodged a bullet there, Donald. So he gave basically a nearly hour-long speech to the United Nations General Assembly today that can only be described as, a petulant child, a diplomatic temper tantrum, and I mean that literally. So play that clip. Let's take a look at that.
Many years ago, a very successful real estate developer in New York, known as Donald J. Trump, I bid on the renovation and rebuilding of this very United Nations complex. I remember it so well.
He referred to himself in the third person at the United Nations during a speech about global peace. He does this all the time, classic narcissistic behavior. And then he said, and I quote,
I said at the time that I would do it for $500 million, rebuilding everything. It would be beautiful. I used to talk about, I'm going to give you marble floors. They're going to give you terrazzo. I'm going to give you the best of everything. You're going to have mahogany walls. They're going to give you plastic.
so the President of the United States spent precious minutes of his UN speech complaining his flooring preferences to world leaders trying to solve wars and climate change. But wait, it gets worse. When the UN tried to help with his technical difficulties, like I guess the teleprompter broke and an escalator got stuck, Trump said, all I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle and then a teleprompter that didn't work. This man blamed the United Nations for, an escalator malfunction during his speech about why the United Nations is useless. Oh, and perhaps the biggest gem would be this one. Cut to this clip.
I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell.
Because nothing says international cooperation like telling your allies they're doomed. He also called climate change the greatest con job ever perpetuated on the world at the UN Climate Summit, where most countries are trying to, not cook the planet. By the way, guys, at least almost the whole entire world is ignoring our new stance to climate change. So this is our president on the world stage complaining about marble floors and broken escalators while people are literally dying in wars around the globe. So drop a comment if you think UN speeches should include more real estate grievances. Apparently, that's cutting edge diplomacy right now.